So, I hope this is recording well and it's all coming through visually and auditorially. We got a little StarCraft 2 game music playing in the background. That's a trick that helps cover up any dead space in my rambling, but hopefully it's not too loud. Mostly, I just want something to cover the incessant buzz and hum of the legions of gardeners that descend upon my neighborhood every day here in sunny Southern California. And hopefully they don't disturb too much. Okay, so let's see here. We have our latest page in front of us here, opened up in Photoshop, all of its glory. I'm gonna take a second to zoom in on all these beautiful pixels you guys are missing out on when you're not buying the graphic novels. You're just not seeing all this beautiful detail. I know our readers love to scrutinize detail and see all this beautiful stuff, but you just can't see it unless you want to fork off the little bit of cash for the graphic novels when they come out. So just saying. Alright, but that's not today. Today we're just going to look at, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just going to sort of talk about what goes into making the comic. See, you could see flaws like this. See, this is a flaw. This is a badly keyed section of effects right here that has come onto the artwork. So I'll have to fix that. Good thing I'm checking this stuff out. So yeah, we'll get into what caused that and stuff like that. And hopefully this won't take too long. I'm not trying to make like a real movie or anything like now. Just a little bit of extra content and seeing if this microphone deal works and whatnot. So let's just give it a shot, okay? Let's see. So this is, I mean, we zoom out and you can see the page. This is the page that the finished artwork with all the text and whatnot. But if you're completely ignorant on how these comics are made, this will be somewhat enlightening because in digital production of comics, there are, as you can see in this section over here, many layers of artwork that contribute to the final product. And this isn't particularly well organized for a presentation, but maybe I can sort of go through some of it real quick with you. For instance, all these lines of the boxes, the little panel frames, those are easily turned on and off by a little switch here. And the white space, known as the gutter in some circles, I used to not like that, but Will Eisner, that's what he called it, so it's good enough for me. Anyway, you use that to crop out all the crap artwork that bleeds out around the edges. You can see it gets nice and sloppy, and you just cover that up with a little gutter. And the dialogue layer turned on and off. Balloons, dialogue. In case you ever wanted to know what was lurking beneath those balloons, it turns out I completely draw every fucking pixel that's beneath those balloons. A lot of wasted time there, but in case we ever translate this to Japanese or something like that, I'll be glad that I did that. And let's see here, what else do we have? Okay, you can see that we do, by doing a little tweaking to the brightness and contrast here in Photoshop, we can give it that little extra oomph of impact. On, off, and all these rain effects I distilled down to a single layer that is essentially Dad's contribution. You can see, let's zoom in, really appreciate some of this. All these cool realistic bubbles and bloops and drops are real drops created by Dad, and when we turn them off, you can see the impact that they provide. So I think that's significant. It lends a little bit of realism. Turning it off again, you can see, and I think I draw good rain, you know, not to blow my own horn too much, but you know, it's not bad. But to add Dad's stuff on top, it just starts to look more real, without looking too real, which is good. What's this? Unnamed layer here, layer 3. Probably has nothing on it at all. Oh, it's a couple. It's up here. You can see it turning on and off. A little bit of rain. Okay, you can see these are some of the raindrops that I drew. Those ones. Let's turn all the rain back on. Okay, this is interesting. Photoshop has great great tools for adjusting and just sort of nudging around artwork after it's been drawn. So here you can see this was what I originally drew for Sophie, or not Sophie, Marissa, but for some reason I didn't like what I drew, so I wanted to change it a little bit. So I sort of nudged it around a little bit. I don't know if I didn't think it was realistic enough originally, but you know, I don't know. This kind of, it looks right enough, except it's sort of like she's staring into space, which maybe is appropriate because she's sort of in a daze, but I wanted her to really sort of be engaging with the viewer. And so here I felt like, okay, now she's like looking a little bit more at us, like we're at the from the POV of Max, for instance. So that's the reason for that. Let's see here. So that's back on. What else do we have here? Pretty much everything gets a layer. So these lines of white, these kind of speed lines or whatever, that's this little swish layer. Turns off slowly because Photoshop needs so much memory when it's got all these various layers of high resolution going everywhere. What's this? Drops wet. What does that turn off? Okay, so we can see turning it on. You know, so that's kind of the pooled artwork for the water there. Let's see here. We have a layer called people lines. Let's turn that off, see what happens. Okay, so that's a lot of the line art gets turned off when we turn off people lines. But what's interesting is you can still read what's happening here, and I like to think that's because I did a good job coloring. But that could be anybody's opinion. Let's turn off more people lines and see what happens. Okay, so basically turns off all the lines for the artwork up here. Kind of interesting to see it without any lines on it. Good, bad, whatever, but you can see I do put a lot of effort into the shading and the coloring of the artwork. Let's see here. So all the artwork down here is even separate and segregated from the artwork up here in these layers. So let's try turning off these lines. Whoa. Whoops. Okay, well that just turns off the colored layers for these ones up here. So people lines white, 1 turns on and off these sections of artwork. So you can see I keep everything kind of segregated. That allows for maximum flexibility in painting certain sections of artwork without affecting other sections of artwork. And that's important because I make a lot of mistakes, so often I have to go back and fix what I did because it ended up not looking right. So I'll go back and I'll I'll tweak the color of a certain section, but keep the color of another section because some things worked and some things didn't. So the more mistakes you anticipate making, the more you want to have segregated layers, and so I anticipate lots of mistakes because I'm just winging this as I go. So that's why everything is nice and separated, so I can easily tweak things. So you can see we're going to turn off the background layers for the artwork up here. You can see the pillow color disappears, you know, and it just sort of like drops off into nothingness. But it's kind of neat to see, you know, I try to build out the world in its entirety and just sort of layer each object upon a background as if it was a real object, and not only drawing the part that we see as much as possible, because I think that you know, if I wanted to nudge a little bit here and there, or like bring more of something in the background to the foreground, I have the option to do that because I drew the entire thing. But you can't do that for everything. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So if we turn off all this, you'll see some holes here. Like I didn't draw the whole pillow behind Max's head. You know, it just doesn't make sense to do that in every situation. But I do try to not have any like uncolored space, and that is to say, there's no white bits, pretty much, that like if I removed this box, this pile of crates here, this sort of dark blueness would continue on past it. It's not there. Like this stuff doesn't cover up empty space, it just covers up blue space, for instance. Let's see here. And that's something you do when you make enough mistakes. Like you'll forget to like color a whole section of stuff, and it'll just be like this glaring white bit that you overlooked for some insane reason. Yeah. So now let's look at the artwork down here. So this is its own separate section of artwork. Fill this out a little bit. Let's see here. Foreground lines. Turn that off, and that gets rid of this whole big machine. I got all kinds of stuff. Emil can just pop on and off. Okay, so you can see, you know, whole sections of Cicerone back here are not even drawn or colored. And what's the point, you know? I try to get a little bit of coverage, but realistically, I'm not going to nudge Emil too much one way or the other. But if I wanted to, I could sort of just move him this way, and then I would only have to color in this little bit, you know, to make up the difference. But if you take enough time to fix your composition up right initially, you don't have to go back and make all those changes. You know, Max is on his separate layer. I can go like this. I'd love all this to be moving around nice and smoothly, but apparently I'm due for a computer upgrade or something. But these are big Photoshop files. I think each one of these is at least 168 megabytes or something like that. And you know, when you zoom in, you can really see where all that detail goes. You know, whenever I have time and inspiration, you know, I hope you guys can see that I really do try and bring a real artistic sense to the artwork here. I don't get enough of a chance to do that in my day job, which is storyboarding. That's pretty much all black and white, and I'm lucky if I get asked to color, and then they give me no time to do it at all, so it ends up looking fairly crappy. But it did teach me to color quickly when I do have the chance, and so I bring a lot of what I've learned in coloring storyboards to coloring the comic book, and luckily there's a lot of overlap. So, you know, we can see pretty much everybody's got their own little layer. You just turn it on and off. Adjusting, this is subtle, but you can see the adjustments I did on the colors to the whole back section here. I wanted it to just be a little bit cooler to make the foreground pop, so that's what I did. And the whole everything's got its layer, whole sections of stuff. So I'm gonna show you something kind of cool. Let's see if I can just turn everything off. Okay, this is how we, here you can see the original rough drawing for the sequence. I did this stuff on Post-it notes. What I did was, when I got the script from my dad, and this was a little while back, but I got the script from my dad, and when I got that script, you know, you read it, and all kinds of visual images flash in your mind, and you know, some are kind of pie in the sky, and some are really practical, and some are inevitable, and you sort of collect all the ideas, and then you sort of distill them down into what can work. And so I put all that, all the best ideas I brought together, and when they were able to make up a page of artwork, as you can see these guys were, and you can see I worked out my compositions very early, and didn't stray much farther from them. But yeah, you can see how things went, and you know, it's a cool process, because you can look back and you can see how long ago I had really anticipated needing all that stuff, and how I was planning on treating the backgrounds here, and compared to the foreground, you know, to get a separation of the sense of space. And even here you can see a lot of the attitude coming forth from all the characters. Why can't I make this work? I'm trying to make everything come on. Oh well, just turn it all on. There we go. Everything goes on. And let's see. Is it very difficult to, let's see, make it so that we can just see black and white now. You can see the line art that I did. You know, I take a lot of time trying to make all that stuff look good too. So lines, people lines stay. Let's see here. You know, not exactly perfect, but you can sort of see what I was intending here. This is closer to what I would be drawing on a storyboard. You know, just in case anybody's curious, you can sort of see the process. This is like the skeleton and the circulatory system of the comic book. All the stuff that's hidden from you guys, and I just wanted to see if anybody cared to see, and I think it's kind of cool, so maybe you do too. Okay, so cool. That's basically what I wanted to do, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I might try to do this for a couple more versions coming up, and I may even do a couple of how it's made in real time, so like recording as I'm drawing the various bits and stages, so you can see, and So you can just see, sort of see it come together and see all the neatness, all the effort, all the hard work that the artist goes through, and a little bit of the writer. Okay, well, till next time. Thanks for watching.